Welcome back to another year on the JMC Reviews.
Well, let's hope this year's better than the last year.
The long-term trend is this year will be worse than last year, and next year will be worse than this.
Here, here.
As is tradition with every new season, we kick things off with a review of a film starring the ultimate action anti-hero, Charles motherfucking Bronson. And for today, we look at yet another Western starring the man himself, as well as the ultimate Japanese movie star, Toshiro Mifune. This is the Italian/French produced spaghetti Western, Red Sun from 1971.
You think you could do that again?
Almost certainly.
Still a few years before Death Wish made Charles Bronson an action icon, Red Sun presented a scenario I've always been interested in seeing: samurais working with cowboys, given how many classic westerns are remakes of Japanese samurai films. And not only did they get Charles Bronson, one of the stars of the original Magnificent Seven, but with Toshiro Mifune, they also got one of the leads of Seven Samurai.
Yes, this looks promising.
Production started as early as 1966, with Toshiro Mifune always intended to be one of the leads, and before they secured Bronson, they tried to get Clint Eastwood for the role of the, gunslinger, which would have been cool given the connection between the two with Yojimbo and A Fistful of Dollars. Unfortunately, the film was put into production hell for a few years. Producer Ted Richmond originally tried to make the film with Warner Brothers, but after a lengthy delay, it was eventually picked up and made by the French film company Corona Films. That's kind of funny. Once Charles Bronson was cast in the Old West role, the production could get underway, and after going through various rewrites, original writer Laird Koning received a story by credit, and the final main writing credits were given to veteran screenwriter Lawrence Roman, journalist Danae Bart Petitcourt, and William Roberts, writer of the original Magnificent Seven. Directing duties went to Terrence Young, the director of 3 of the original James Bond films, including the very first one, Dr. No, From Russia with Love, and Thunderball. In fact, Young directed this film at the same time he was directing another French-Italian produced Charles Bronson film, Cold Sweat.
Super fine.
Taking place in 1870, an ambassador from Japan, played by Tetsu Nakamura, travels through the Old West by train with the intent of presenting a ceremonial sword to the U.S. President as a gift, who, at the time, would have been Ulysses S. Grant. He's accompanied by his 2 samurai bodyguards. On the journey, a group of robbers, led by Link Stewart, played by Charles Bronson, and his French partner, Gouch, played by pretty boy Alain Delon, hold up the train. Link is cold and ruthless, but definitely not as kill-crazy as Gouch. When they get to the car with the Japanese, the gang steals the sword. One of the samurais tries to get it back and is shot dead. And showing there is truly no honor among thieves, Gouch betrays Link, leaving him for dead.
Jump!
The surviving samurai, Kuroda Jobi, played by Toshiro Mifune, vows vengeance on Gouch. Link survives the explosion, and under threat of death, the Japanese ambassador has him lead Kuroda to Gouch to retrieve the sword. Both the ambassador and Kuroda say they will commit suicide via hara-kiri if they can't retrieve the sword by a certain date.
Well, that's something I'd like to see.
From there, it's a long journey of these two trotting through the desert, giving Gus Van Sant's Jerry a run for its money.
1 hour later. 2 hours later. 3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
With a score by 3-time Oscar winner Maurice Jarry that, while impressively gritty at times, can also get a bit too zany. impossible to deny, the cinematography by Henri Alenkin is incredible. Seriously, some of these landscape shots are so beautiful, you'd swear they were from a Terrence Malick movie. Throughout the journey, Link constantly tries to ditch Kuroda, with things almost coming to blows.
Just testing. Just what I had in mind.
We get many funny moments, such as Mifune tossing Bronson around like a rag doll.
We'll call it a draw.
If there's anybody that I can accept kicking Charles Bronson's ass, it's Toshiro Mifune. We also get a kind of sweet moment where Kuroda makes Link sushi, and he actually likes it.
It's not so bad. Pretty good.
However, and showing this is very different and much more complex than the usual anti-heroes he plays, Charles Bronson's Link can get downright sadistic at times. I'm talking Tuco levels of sadistic.
Your word, you let ghosts live. No! I'll hold you under it until you bust!
The worst being when he threatens to let Kuroda freeze to death if he doesn't promise not to kill Gouch before he can learn the location of the gold.
You have my wad.
Don't take it so hard. I think you're one hell of a man.
I think you were one son of a bitch.
Great ass!
They stop at a whorehouse where Link kidnaps Gouch's favorite lady of the evening, Christina, played by the classically beautiful Ursula Andress. Along with a goon played by Anthony Dawson, this is like a James Bond reunion for Terrence Young almost.
Oh, I get you! Somebody, I tell you! Oh.
Any messages you want delivered? He says life won't be worth living until she sees him again.
Definitely not the best time to be a woman. Before setting off, the duo spends the night at the whorehouse, Link reacquainting with the Madame, Pepita, played by late French beauty Capuchin, and Kuroda spending the night with a girl named Marie. After saying the goon to tell Gouch where to meet, the group set forth, Christina putting up a reasonably good fight, eventually escaping. She ends up getting ambushed and almost killed by a group of Comanche Indians. Link and Kuroda save her, giving us the unique visual of a samurai chopping up Indians with a sword while riding a horse. Bronson saves Andres in the most improbable of ways.
What?
Retarded? Yes. Awesome? Hell yes. The trio arrive at the location where they expect to meet Gouch. Gouch ends up getting the drop on them, making it look like the duo is done for.
Come on, Link, you're coming with me.
But then the Comanches show up and all hell breaks loose. We got spears, gunshots, throwing knives, enemies becoming allies of convenience, and fucking fire.
Oh, yeah!
Even Christina gets a shot in. We get an awesome moment where Kuroda and a Comanche duel using an Indian spear against a Japanese sword. With the Indians defeated, Link decides Kuroda's quest of honor and revenge means more than getting the gold, and tells him to kill Gouch.
Here!
Wounded and very smug, Gouch tries to offer Link half the money to let him live, but after all they've been through,
The whole quarter.
No, Ghosh. You keep it.
Before he dies, Link promises to deliver the sword. After burying Kuroda and getting cursed out by Christina one more time, Link makes his way back to the train station, leaving the sword for the Japanese ambassador in a kinda clever way, but also a real dickish move for whoever has to go up there and get it down.
I like your style. Well, okay, I understand.
Red Sun is a pretty fun film. It's got a pretty decent pace, and yes, there are some aspects that admittedly don't hold up the best. The editing can be a little choppy at times, but if you're an easygoing type of film goer, it shouldn't be that hard to get into it and just have a nice time. The action is spectacular, and the blood effects during the sword sequences, while admittedly cartoony with the blood coloring, are impressively gruesome. And the film made Charles Bronson a megastar in Japan. You gotta give it this, it's a lot better than Toshiro Mifune and Terrence Young's later collaboration, Inchon.
To think of the good movies that could have been made with all the money spent on Inchon.
I guess I should have known there was something wrong with this movie when they started offering you an around-the-world cruise if you just go to see it.
That's right, they had a lottery. I don't know if anybody ever got that, but I'm telling you, even that, they're shortchanged.
Reviews were mixed, but it's built up a decent audience over the years, and the main thing that makes this work are the two leads. Toshiro Mifune and Charles Bronson really work well off each other. Their relationship is very antagonistic, at times unpleasant, but they do grow to like and respect each other. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy in 48 Hours, and Bronson's character, while at times very tough to get behind, does work with his usual charm, and Mifune, for a guy who, according to what I've read, could not speak or understand English off camera, does a great job with his delivery and performance here, playing a tough but cool and very sympathetic character. Ursula Andrews, while not very likable as Christina, is a pretty good Western chick, very tough, and while it never becomes a roses type of relationship, it is cool to see her grow somewhat attached to both Link and Kuroda as the film goes on. Alain Delon as Gouch, he is just wonderful playing this unhinged French gunslinger, just a real psychotic roller coaster of a performance. Oh, and fun fact, apparently, according to what I've read, one of Gouch's henchmen is played by a young, pre-directing career John Landis. Unfortunately, I've not been able to spot him in the sea of many villainous faces. If any of you are lucky enough to spot him, leave a comment down below.
We ain't found shit.
So if you're into old school gritty westerns, I totally recommend Red Sun. I hope you enjoyed this first JMC review of the season. It's always good to start off with these type of movies, and I will see you again, hopefully soon.
Christina, you're a whore. You've always been one. You'll always be one.
You always did know how to speak to a woman.
Right.